Hey guys, it's Alex from 7th out. I blew it. I'm sorry, for a second I just forgot you were here.
I'm
apparently. Here. Yeah. That's our intro. Hi, we're Alex and Dad from 7th Hour Films, and we're back again with Doctor Who and our horrible intros.
Oh, it's all right. We're good.
Yeah. Last time on Doctor Who, we had Dimensions in Time, the incredibly weird crossover with EastEnders, but it was fun.
It was a lot of fun.
It was definitely fun getting to see all those doctors back.
Yeah.
So this time around, we have The Curse of Fatal Death, the 1999 comic relief spoof. Yeah, this one I guess will also be weird, but I guess it'll be funny.
But I mean, quite honestly, Rowan Atkinson, what a great choice. I mean, I was thinking this morning, one of the TV channels, I get up very early on Saturday morning because I can't sleep. They were doing a Monty Python marathon, and I got to thinking, John Cleese, what a great Doctor Who he would have made. You know, after they stopped that and he did Fawlty Towers, I mean, somewhere along the way, John Cleese would have made a great Doctor. Several of them. Michael Palin, a little less so, but I mean, John Cleese is just so can be so dignified and yet so silly at the same time. So it's interesting how they go about choosing who the next Doctor's going to be. It seems like they don't specifically go for anybody who is famous. Although didn't like Peter Capaldi have a pretty good resume when they chose him?
Perhaps.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he was fairly well known.
Yeah.
Whereas most of the others really didn't become known until they started playing Doctor Who.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'd say probably the biggest one would be David Tennant. I'm not sure like how famous David Tennant really was before he was the Doctor, and he became the Doctor 2006, I guess, and went through 2009. So.
I think he had done some. I don't know if it was Royal Shakespeare Company, but he had done some stage work that I think he had done, and then of course he did some movies after that. I think he did a Hamlet after he finished Doctor Who, and a couple of other things. So know, Jessica Jones, obviously. Yeah,
and Good Omens, most recently. But yeah, this one will be interesting. So I'm not sure how much continuity is in here, but. I don't know. It's specifically a spoof of Doctor Who. Also for the same charity that did Dimensions in Time. So, yeah, it will be interesting. I know technically it is like... It's 4 parts, but when you put it all together, it's about a half hour long. So, I'm curious to get into this one. So, honestly, I guess we might as well just get into it. Here we go. Stephen Moffat is the showrunner in the Smith and Capaldi eras.
You are doomed.
Jonathan Pryce.
Doomed.
You know, if you're going to spy on me, you really should turn the speaker off.
My dear Doctor, after our many centuries of conflict, naturally I wished you to know that your certain death is now certain.
Jonathan Pryce, another guy who could have played the Doctor.
That your destruction.
They could communicate only by precisely modulated gastric emission.
Oh no! Planet of the bottom bugs. So what happened to them?
They discovered fire.
What?
Say hello to the sofa of reasonable comfort. Naturally, I anticipated your journey back in time, and so I travelled slightly further back and bribed the architect first.
Or so you think. Naturally, I anticipated your traveling back in time, so...
They were really having fun with time travel.
Well, naturally, I anticipated your journey back to an even earlier point.
Doctor, will you stop showing off?
I have grown weary of all the evil in the cosmos. All the cruelty, all the suffering, all those endless gravel quarries. And so I have decided to retire, settle down, and get married.
What?
Yes.
And a trapdoor leading to the vast and disgusting sewers of Tercerus. Exactly there! Prepare for 500 miles of fear and feces. Forever. Mr. and Mrs. Doctor.
Keep along, my dear.
Not so fast.
How could he be? He just fell in the sewers.
But this time, I did not come alone.
Uh-oh.
After 3 centuries of wading through those vast, steamy lakes, climbing those huge, squelchy mountains, after a lifetime of only dung slugs for food, die, Doctor! Die!
Oh no. Oh.
I believe he knows the way out.
There he is.
124 years! After them, you fools! Get them! In a sewer.
At some point, he has to regenerate.
Wait for me!
Here's what's sad. The sets and the production values are even better than the 63 version.
Yeah. Oh no. Oh, that's the first part. It'll switch over to the next part in a sec.
Once again, I have been augmented by superior Dalek technology, rejuvenating my physical form and granting me even more power over the cosmos.
Fool, with a Zectronic energy beam, the Daleks will be able to conquer the entire universe within minutes.
With just a beam? How?
I'll explain later.
Prepare to operate the Zectronic beam in 5 Dalek minutes! I obey.
What's a Dalek minute?
Not only do I speak perfect Tercerum, but so does he.
You mean?
Yes. I can communicate with the Master by carefully controlled breaking of wind.
Could I be tied to a different chair?
Side, lads.
Why'd you have chairs on a Dalek spaceship anyway?
We will explain later. Certain dupe?
Try not to clench.
The Daleks are planning to exterminate you as soon as you twiddly hippie we
Sorry, that was me.
He says I love you.
Oh, Doctor.
Oh, is he gonna regenerate?
Killed him!
Oh, sorry about that. I thought I'd just slip into something more comfortable. Result, cute, sexy, and lick the mirror handsome. How could I possibly forget the only time-traveling companion I ever had?
You've had lots of companions.
The only time-traveling companion I've had.
Oh, right.
Still me in here. These old hearts are... I think in my new body I'm going to be particularly good at rewiring.
Now, is that Richard E. Grant? Looks like him.
Oh, bugger.
Doctor?
Oh, no.
Oh,
Cute
yeah,
man.
look at that. I've gone and used up 3 whole bodies in just under a minute. All because I forgot to unplug first. That really was terribly silly of me. Sorry about that, my dear.
Doctor, listen to me. You can't die. You're too nice. Too brave, too kind, and far, far too silly. You're like Father Christmas, the Wizard of Oz, Scooby-Doo. I love you very much.
Emma, look. I've got etheric beam locators.
No, Doctor. And I'm not sure this sentence has ever been used so completely accurately before, but You're just not the man I fell in love with.
Well, never mind. My best friend by my side, my trusty old TARDIS, and of course, my sonic screwdriver. Oh, look, it's got 3 settings. Don't stop.
Doctor, I have to say, you are rather gorgeous.
Tell me, why do they call you the Master?
I'll explain later.
Oh boy. Cast list up. All right.
It was Richard Grant.
Yeah.
I knew I
Alrighty.
recognized the third Doctor is Jim Broadbent. We hardly saw him. I mean, he kept his face out.
Yeah.
And then Joanna Lumley, if I recall correctly, she did a British comedy series too, but I can't remember what it was.
Alrighty. That was that one.
Excellent. I mean, just seriously, very well done. Very much in the spirit of Doctor Who, and I wish that kind of humor was in more of the Doctor Who stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that was definitely interesting. Now I'm trying to think. Okay, so let's see. You know what? Okay. So Rowan Atkinson was the 9th Doctor. 10, 11, 12. That is entirely accurate that the 13th Doctor was a woman. That's incredible how accurate that was.
Yeah. And when was this? 1999?
Yeah. So, and this was, far before they even thought about the new series and Christopher Eccleston. So yeah, that was definitely interesting and very, very funny. I did like that. Let's see.
And also, it's just very interesting that Hugh Grant is very similar to, in my opinion, what David Tennant became. Young, good-looking man who is absolutely not like any of the previous Doctors.
Yeah.
Someone who's really kind of a leading man type rather than a character actor.
Yeah, he was definitely, I guess, I don't want to say the odd one out of the 5 of them, but I mean he was definitely the youngest of them, which is ironic because him playing the 12th Doctor, the actual 12th Doctor being Peter Capaldi, who recently now is the oldest one to take over. So yeah, that was good. That was very, very good. Let's see. So I did write some notes down. I wrote down the Master, a great portrayal of the Master.
Wow, yes. Jonathan Pryce, just absolutely excellent. They should have, we've heard in the comments about what happened to Roger Delgado. And that's really sad to have his life cut short like that, especially in an accident. But Jonathan Pryce, I remember him, the first thing I ever saw him in was in I think it was a Ray Bradbury film called Something Wicked This Way Comes, which would have been in the 80s. So Jonathan Pryce, even as a young man, would have made an excellent Master, and he's, of course, still alive, still playing great characters like this. Yeah. So that's a missed opportunity, I think.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it would be interesting to get any of them back, even just for a little bit, on real Doctor Who. Yeah, it would actually be interesting if somehow they did actually reference this, in an alternate timeline, the 8th Doctor regenerated into Rowan Atkinson. That would be funny if they somehow brought that into some form of a canon. So
now Jim Broadbent, although has done quite a lot of very serious acting, he's also a great comic actor. And again, this is just my preference. I like to see the Doctor in very serious situations, but who again has that sense of humor, kind of like Troughton and Pertwee had. It always helps to alleviate. It also helps to bring in the audience if you can find humor even in the most serious situations. It's my opinion. So,
and I think the more modern Doctors have been a little bit better about that.
Yeah.
Especially at least David Tennant has been a lot better about that. I mean, there was one point where his companions were about to be killed by the Daleks. He just walks in. He's got 3D glasses on for no reason. And he just starts cracking some jokes because like, oh well, Daleks, meh. I know how to deal with them. So.
Well, that episode of The Doctor's Wife, Matt Smith, had a lot of comedy in that.
Yeah,
so.
that's true. let's see. I wrote down the planet they went to, that they could only speak by specific breaking of wind. And it's like, what happened to them? They discovered fire. It's like, oh, that's like, it's so, like, the fact that they kept doing fart jokes in this, and that's the thing. Fart jokes are some of the lowest, like, they're on the low rungs of humor, but it worked.
But what would have also been a totally obscure but perfect tie-in for the highbrows is if, after mentioning that, you looked around and there were like scorch marks on the wall, and would have just said, "Oh, that explains the scorch marks."
Yeah.
just some little reference to that is that suddenly there was fire and boom, it all exploded. And, yes, that explains it.
Yeah. I also loved the kind of Bill and Ted time battle that the Doctor and the Master had. They just kept going further and further back in time to just keep we kept installing different things in here that we both know about, and we keep trying to trap each other in. Yeah. I thought that was I thought that was funny. Like, it was like, here's the spikes, and they are taken behind the wall, and then they come back, there's a sofa. Or it's like, yes, well, I also have this giant brick I can throw on you. Plop, walk out a door. Yes, well, I already anticipated that.
That's very much, that's a Looney Tunes cartoon stuff from even from the 50s and 60s, Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner sort of stuff.
Yeah, and then the fact that, I like that sort of the last half of this sort of time battle was just this one hole that the Master just kept falling down for so long. And I was thinking at some point, it's like, he's got to regenerate at some point. Regenerate just of old age, At a point, it's like, okay, he is 900 years old at this point. And so that was funny. And that he keeps falling down, taking 300 years to get back up, finds his TARDIS, comes right back to this point, falls down again. It's like, you got to close that at some point. So that was funny. And the fact that they just kept putting more and more old age makeup on him was funny.
Then he regenerates with boobs.
Yeah.
Then bumps.
Yeah, the
bumps.
The Daleks heal him up, get him all young again. And it's like, and then and he's all like proud of it and stuff.
Now again, if you wanted to make that subtle, this is me as a director speaking. That the first time he shows it off, there's just the two, but the Daleks have them all over. So perhaps as the scene went on, there would be some way that the next time he shows off, there's 4 of them, and then 6 of them, and then like
he's got like a 6-pack of Dalek bumps. Yeah,
we're totally weird.
This honestly, this is right up our alley. This was great.
Yes.
So, let's see. I wrote down Emma, his companion Emma. She was interesting. It's also interesting, the whole thing of like, well, I've decided to settle down, get a wife, and retire. And it's like, I've kind of joked about that before. It's like, the Doctor would never retire. So the fact that this one, it's like, the whole premise is he's going to retire. And honestly, the Master was kind of sad about it. It's like, oh, but we were having fun, So that was interesting. I also like in the beginning when he's like spying on the Doctor and stuff, and he just keeps leaving the speaker on. I thought that was funny too. And just the simple delivery, it's like, if you're going to spy on me, you should turn the microphone off.
But also, again, a great just visual reference there. At the very beginning, Jonathan Pryce was wearing that, what we thought was the best of the Time Lord's costumes, with that big whatever fan it is behind them.
Yeah.
So that was just a great tie-in to some of the earlier episodes.
Yeah, that's true. Let's see. I wrote down the Zectronic beam, and the joke they kept saying of, I'll tell you later. I'll explain it later. It's like, they're going to destroy the entire universe with one beam, and it's like, yeah, that's what they do. There's just some big thing that we have to stop. Which, to be fair, they do that later on in modern Doctor Who. It's like the Daleks are going to destroy the entire universe with just this one machine that they happen to have. So that was interesting. And then just bringing back the fact that it's like, earlier we had like, oh, well, they could only communicate by breaking wind, and then they discovered fire, and it's like, yes, but because the Doctor and the Master have had to keep going back in time to lay all these different traps for each other, they are both fluent in the way that they talk. So he can just send a message to the Master like that. So, and I like just how fast, because, Rowan Atkinson, he's sitting there and you hear him start to fart, and then just immediately Jonathan Pryce is like, it's so fast. So I thought that was funny. And then the continuing running joke of the fact that the Doctor just kept regenerating. I thought that was funny, because I've thought before, like, what if there was a point in Doctor Who, like in the middle of the season, because they've had something where it's like, oh, this whatever he's doing, it's so big, like he might need to regenerate, and it's like, okay, well, it's not the season finale, so you can probably take a guess that he's not going to regenerate. And then I thought, what if they just did that one time, though? He just it was like a non-graceful exit for the actor. They just, in the middle of the season, he just regenerates because he just had to. Yeah. And I suppose this is sort of toying with that. It's like, in the middle here, Rowan Atkinson regenerates, and now he's Richard E. Grant, and then he regenerates again because he got zapped by the machine. It's like, now he's Jim Broadbent, and then he got hit, and then he's Hugh Grant. He got hit, and then he seemed to have died, and then last second regen into Joanna Lumley. So I thought that was funny, just that constant regeneration. And I was thinking, like, I wonder how long this is going to go on. Like, how many different actors could they power through? Like, how many British actors could they power through? I actually thought when Hugh Grant showed up and he kind of was, like, moving the hair out of his face, for a second, I thought that was Paul McGann. And I was like, well, that would be weird.
I did think that, too, just for a second.
It's like, if that was Paul McGann, it's like, that would be really funny. He regenerates back, because this is still in continuity, technically, and they say this is his 9th body, so that would have been funny if he just regenerates and he's just like, oh, that's not right, So, yeah.
I'm thinking, I just keep thinking about Joanna Lumley. I think, again, please don't quote me on this, but I think she was in a very famous British comedy called Absolutely Fabulous. Or Ab-Fab, I think is what they call it. I've never seen it, but I've seen bits and pieces of it. We don't have it here locally. But yeah, her name sounds very familiar. So I think that she's from Absolutely Fabulous.
And I will say, for like, okay, this is a comic relief special, and I'm pretty sure this was for the charity that also did Dimensions in Time. It's like, there were a lot of adult jokes in this that it's like, if there is a kid watching, it's going to go right over their head. So, no damage done or anything. But it's like, there were a lot of jokes, and especially like, towards the end where it's like, oh, don't worry, I've got my trusty sonic screwdriver, and it starts to vibrate. And it's like, oh, it has other settings. Like that. I thought that was interesting that they did go for some of those jokes.
Yeah. So never had another companion.
Well. So yeah, that is pretty much all I wrote down for this one. Really, really great. Really enjoyed that one.
Yes, absolutely. And again, Richard Grant, Hugh Grant even, Jonathan Pryce could have filled in at any point in Doctor Who. They're all just absolutely great. And again, you would think of, wait a minute, Rowan Atkinson, he's primarily known as a comic actor. But as you can see, he pulls off the drama of it.
Yeah.
I mean, he can be snarky about it, but it's not very difficult for him to actually look very serious and do the serious stuff before breaking down into the flatulent comedy.
Yeah. And honestly, I think him most of all, like, he really carried the classic Doctor as well as being a more comedic Doctor. So honestly, I feel like if they wanted to, they could bring him in. And especially, after we've watched the modern episodes, like, I feel like he could fit into those episodes as one of those Doctors. Yeah. And, and yes, maybe it would be a more comedic, version of the show, but honestly, I think that would be fine.
Well, you can get into one of those things very similar to this, where somewhere along in the New Who, you get, not necessarily a villain, but you get an antagonist who is just so utterly incompetent at being a Time Lord or whatever, somebody who travels through time, that they literally have to figure out a way to prevent him from destroying the cosmos or a solar system or even a planet just because he's an idiot. He's a complete and total idiot.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing strikes me as being a refreshing change from the doom and gloom that we sometimes see in both classic and New Who.
So this was really great. It'd be great if they did another one.
Yeah.
So which honestly, I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone's still alive. You could get the gang back together.
Yeah. Rowan Atkinson doesn't look much different. He's got gray hair now.
Yeah.
Hugh Grant doesn't look much different now. Jim Broadbent, of course, Jim Broadbent's one of those guys who probably looked 70 when he was 30, and now that he's 70, he looks exactly the same. So and Richard E. Grant, we just saw him. He's in the Star Wars films, isn't he? The new Star Wars.
Yeah, he was in the latest. He was in the Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
And actually, without spoiling too much, he did actually come back in modern Doctor Who as another character, which was very interesting, and he actually became sort of like a seasoned bad guy for a while. So they could bring him back as a version of the Doctor. It would also be interesting if maybe there was like an episode where it's like, okay, maybe these are doctors of other universes.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, in this universe we have Rowan Atkinson. It's like, it would also be interesting if you went to another universe and found Richard E. Grant from Scream of the Shalka. Like, so it's that one, and then maybe you could even do where Rowan Atkinson regenerates into Richard E. Grant like he did here, and then you just have the two of them together. Like, that could have been
By the way, we've mentioned everybody here, but Julia Sawala as Emma, just perfect straight woman. I mean, doesn't get much of a chance to do the comedy in here, but talk about absolutely just keeping a straight face and keeping the whole seriousness of the original Doctor Who in there. So props to her for that too. So great stuff.
It was all really, really good. I really enjoyed this. And it only had 21 minutes too. But they fit a lot in. I mean, they fit the Master, they fit the Daleks, they fit in a bunch of Daleks, and then they fit in, this, like you said, this Looney Tunes routine of they just kept laying traps. They kept bribing the same architect. That architect really made off because of the two of them. Like, he must have gotten rich because they just kept bribing him. So next week we get back to the serious stuff. No more of this charity stuff we're doing. So next week we are moving on into the 50th anniversary, which technically the same week that these two videos are going up, Dimensions of Time and Fatal Death, I will be watching the 50th anniversary, and the next week I'll be rewatching the 50th anniversary with you.
Okay.
It makes sense in my head. So next time we will have 2 episodes. Once again, we will have the mini episode, The Night of the Doctor, which by the time this video has gone up, you can go watch my reaction to that. And we will also be watching the 50th anniversary special, The Day of the Doctor. And also, next week, we'll be watching the 5-ish Doctors reboot, which is, I guess it's another charity thing, I think. Okay. And I think it's about another half hour long. So we will be watching all of those next week. But that is pretty much that. With all that being said, we're Alex and Dad from 7th Hour Films, and we will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. If you want to watch more of our Doctor Who classic reactions, you can click on the playlist, you can subscribe if you haven't done that already, and be sure you hit that notification bell. You can support me on Patreon and follow me on social media, links below in the description. See you guys later.